host, More Yelvington of Morph Transform Your Reality, where I help women step out of trauma and reclaim their power. I'm so happy to have you here for this open conversation about moms, sex, motherhood, children, relationships, marriage, and everything in between. So grab your drink of choice and let's dive in. So, welcome. I'm so excited for today's episode. And I'm so honored to have the beautiful Jo here with me today. Hi, Jo.
Hi, More. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm really excited too, because I feel like we're going to share some light and maybe some things that people don't really talk about behind closed doors. And we're going to kind of bust those doors open and just break some myths that we have about maybe being women and moms. So, how about you introduce yourself and tell us now a little bit about you and what you do?
Okay. So, super happy to be here. I think that what you are doing is so needed in the world. And I'm grateful for you taking the leadership into leading that, into letting women connect with sex and their sexuality. I am the Unicorn Coach. I'm an empowering and level up coach for type A moms that actually want to have it all and are ready to build it without doing it all and avoid burnout.
Yes.
I am an injury background, had after like almost 15 years of experience in corporate and Fortune 100 companies. I started my own business just because I truly believe that the world will change with more women empowered in the roles, in leadership, and all that. So that is my passion. And I am excited to be talking about something that we never talk about, and that is what sex means to us and what we can expect from sex, and that if it's just a duty or something that we are worthy to enjoy.
Yes. And I mean, I know that we talked about this in the background, but me and you totally believe that we deserve to enjoy sex and we deserve to have orgasms. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast. So if you're listening out there and you're not having an amazing orgasm, today we're going to talk about how you can get there. Okay. So, Jo, why don't you share a little bit about your journey?
That is something I'm very passionate about. And I want to first tell your audience that I know you think that there is something wrong with you. I know that you think that you are the only one that is not finishing and is not having an organ. And I want to tell you that that is a big rule, garbage rule that society has been putting in your mind, because let's gonna be honest, every single amazing movie that we have about romance, we just see them women completely enjoying and satisfying and having these epic things, and then we don't talk about that with our friends. We just assume that it needs to be. So a lot of us think that that is just a reality. That was me for a lot of years. And then there is also a lot of studies now that is shown that I don't even remember the number. I don't know if it's over 90% or 80% of females don't have an orgasm during penetration.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually before that, but we don't know that. They don't teach us that. So then when we go into penetration and we don't have the orgasm, okay, then something is wrong. I was one of them. I was not orgasmic. And then I was like, well, that is okay. It's fine. I mean, it was not painful. It was not, but I didn't have that whoa climax. And then a few years ago, I was talking with one of my closest friends about that and about the organs, about the pleasure. And there was something special about she sharing how much she enjoyed herself and how much pleasure she had, that I was like, dang, I want that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, almost like that Sally and me, like, I want what she's eating. I was like, I want what she's eating. So I went home and I sit down with my husband and I claimed my power and told him, hey, you know what? Until now, you always have your orgasm, you always get your climax, and mine is being almost random. Like once every now and a while, I have one and then it's okay. And I want to tell you that that is not okay anymore. And for now on, if you want to have sex that will imply you getting into climax and orgasm, then I'm expecting the same. And I'm going to have sex. I'm going to have an orgasm every time that we have sex. And then he was like, but how I can do that? And I was like, we will figure it out together. And it's going to be a matter of us exploring the topic and be honest and drop that good girl syndrome of saying, hey, I really enjoy watching this, or I really enjoy you doing this, and empowering your own body and being able to explore pleasure. Because the reality more is nobody taught us to explore pleasure. I was even thinking when we are teenagers, like every single boy masturbate and discover their body and their pleasure, and then all the moms like don't like it, but assume that is normal.
Yeah.
How many times you see a mom encouraging their daughter to masturbate and find her body and find how it feels? So I think that is a beautiful way to go into self-discovering and self-love and self-acceptance, to actually know that we have all that power in feeling that pleasure.
Right. And it's so important beyond the amazing feeling and the connection that then you get with your husband, right? Like beyond that, just the physical hormones that are released into your body, the recharge, right? So many women think that having sex like makes them tired, they don't have any energy. But I found it, at least for me, it's the opposite, right? The minute I have amazing sex and the amazing connection and I have an amazing orgasm, I have energy. Suddenly all my amazing ideas for my business come flowing through, right? Suddenly I'm on a different level. It puts you into that super deep connection to yourself, to your energy of creation, right? That's what I call this area, like your powerhouse. I refer to this as your powerhouse. And if your powerhouse is not being recharged with power, it's gonna be kind of right. And so it's our job to really tap into that power and ignite it over and over again. So I'm curious, how has your life changed now that you actually orgasm?
I completely agree with you. And we were talking in the background too about this and how I'm going to share one of the tips. But actually, what you are saying for your audience, even if I know there are going to be moms that are tired, that are sleep deprived, and you're like, right, Joe, like I'm going to have more energy. I barely can. Look, actually, I want to share with you that there are now new studies for high performing executives, males, that are making them have sex without, for them is different, without finishing, to harvest that energy of the sexual encounter for their performance intellectually, for ideas, before they close a big client. Like there is a huge movement on males doing exactly what you're saying, using it as a tool to recharge, to have full energy. So I totally agree with that, and agree that is part of, yeah, mom, if you're going to do sex just to make sure that your husband is not, or your partner is not bothering you, yeah, it becomes something else that you have to do, and you're not going to have the recharge that Maury is saying. But when you empower yourself, like I was telling you, saying like, no, I am worthy to have the pleasure. I am worthy of maybe figure out for the first time what an orgasm really feels. Be willing to do that, and be willing to explore without the taboos of, oh, that the only way that is okay for me to have an orgasm is when I am having the penetration with my husband, because that is what society has been putting us into, that belief. But actually expand that sex for us females is a lot more than that. That is the play, the play before, the erotic part, the touch, and then claim that you are ready to receive that pleasure in your life. And absolutely, I agree with you. Like it helped with ideas, it helped with energy, it helped with mood, it helped with me showing up as a better person. It actually improved my confidence, because every time that happened, I'm very proud of that day when I say, this is the line in the sand, and I am not going to have sex anymore unless we both get to climax. We don't have to come to climax at the same time. Sometimes happen, but doesn't have to be that guy every time. But the must is we both need to achieve that level of pleasure in the connection.
And I want to add to this, because you talked about how we're not taught to pleasure ourselves. We're not taught to educate ourselves. And I think it's so important that if you are interested to learn what is giving you pleasure and what makes you pleasure, you need to learn to explore your body. You need to tune into your body. You need to drop the shame. You need to drop the guilt. Realize that this is one of the biggest source capacity energy that you have in your body. And it's up to you to figure out what makes you feel good, right? Like our husbands or our partners, they can help us and be there for them. But we need to also know, right, that we can also orgasm by ourselves, right? That we know what to push, how to push, what pressure we like. If we like it hard, do we like it soft? Do we like a penetration? Do we like it just an outside? It's your job to explore that area, and it will pay back 10 times fold. I can promise you, because you will just start connecting to your body again. So many times when we, in our early years, when we experience of sex, if it's not a great experience, if we didn't have, and let's be honest, how many teenage boys know what they're doing, right? Most of the time, they probably don't. And so if you take the time to really explore and connect to your body again, it would be amazing what shows up for you.
And I will even go deeper with the teenagers. The teenager boys don't know what they're doing for you, but they know what they are doing for them, because they have been spending a lot of years closed doors in their bedroom, really exploring and moving. So they are actually recreating with you what they learn works for them. And then we need to balance that out. We also need to recreate with them, like you were saying, what works for you. And I think that is one of the biggest taboos for moms. And that is why I know that is so important, the work that you are doing, because it's not only claiming our own power, but also helping us to support our daughters to claim theirs and grow up with a different mindset of it is okay. It is okay to explore yourself. It's okay to know how good feels. It's okay, instead of being afraid of it and then making it a taboo. So yeah.
Yes, I totally feel you. So what are other tips that you can give our listeners that has really helped you shift into this? Because I'm sure it's probably creating a better bond with you and your husband also, right? Like, not besides that, because then you don't have all this animosity. A lot of times I feel like if you have sex and you're not orgasming, it's not great. I can only tell you, I only had this experience once in my life. And I was, like 18 or 17 with my boyfriend. And he was in the military. He came home, and so obviously was really horny. And he ended up coming faster than me, and I didn't orgasm. And I just remember laying there, and I was just like, "Wait, what just happened? Like, this is not ever happening again." And I was like, "I know you're tired. You're gonna have to get your stuff together, and we're gonna do it again until I also orgasm." And that was this, like, this is never happening to me again. I don't care who I'm with. I am going to orgasm. Like, I'm not doing this for fun. I'm not your like model pleasure. No, pleasure model. No, thank you. I get to also enjoy this. And so that was a big shift for me. And so I'm curious, what has it created for you? And what tips can we share for our listeners about that?
I love that. And I love that you were able to have that self-awareness at 18 years old. Hell, damn for you. Good, Dan. Okay, so a couple of things that we did. Because there is also a lot of taboo, right? Like, if you're talking about who is being in a sex shop, and then everybody's like, oh, no, but what if I go to the sex shop in my town and somebody sees me and whatever? So that was the first one. Like, if you are never been in a sex shop,
go.
Make a date to go with your partner, and then go by yourself. If you are, so for example, what happened was, we had all the taboo and all the fear. So we find and research one like in 2 towns from ours. So I was like, okay, if anybody's going to see us, it's not going to be very likely that they know us. So we went there, and then together we start looking at what is this and what is that. And I even start feeling that like fear, like that shame of saying that, being curious about some things and not asking in front of him. So then go and explore that and say, hey, which one you like? And that day we came home with a couple of toys. You don't have to come that, but I will even say, go explore and then get even one toy just to explore. You can, after that, take it to the trash. You didn't like it, but you can like it. And again, reinforce. All those toys are created because it's shown that the part of your body that orgasm and create all that stimulation is the clitoris. And in penetration, it's very hard for the penis and that to activate that part. So all of those toys are there for that function. So go to a sex shop. Then the second tip is, if you find something curious and you are still not daring to be openly asking about, oh, what about this? What about that? Make yourself the time to go on a date with yourself or with a good girlfriend to just go and ask them, like, what are those beads and how they are used, and use it as an opportunity to explore and be curious and have that almost like childhood playfulness of, oh, if all of this is there, what happened? And one of the things that, so those are the first two. Then the third one, and I know that I've been having a lot of pushback from a lot of women on this one, but because I'm an engineer and how I mind, I start noticing that in a blink of our eye, before our baby was born, and then after our baby was born, it was even worse. It would be like 2 months, 3 months without having sex because we were all so busy. So I literally start planning my sex nights. So like, okay, it's going to be 1 to 2 nights, and it's going to be Wednesday and Saturday. And everyone's like, wow, but that is a chore. Yeah, that is a chore and a commitment with my relationship and with my love, because my priority is keeping my marriage, and having that intimate connection and having that time to have sex is part of that bond, is part of that energy, is part of that. So yeah. And then one thing that is super funny, when I start doing it, when I start saying, okay, I have the organs, I didn't, I start actually marking. And it was so empowering to say, okay, so if it was 1 check, we had sex, I didn't have an orgasm. If I have sex, we have sex, and we have an orgasm, there was 2 checks. And it was very empowering to see that and say, okay, this is my reality. This is what I want to do. Would I tell you that every single Wednesday and Saturday we have sex? No. But just having it as part of my plan, having it visible as part of my week, is increasing a lot the chances that some Wednesdays become Thursday or become Friday, but still we have that in front of our mind as a priority for me as a woman, but also for us as a marriage, for us as a community. I know we were talking about the huge amount of divorces that are happening, and one of the fourth tip, so visit sex shop with your partner, visit a sex shop by yourself or with a girlfriend, so you can ask questions that you may not feel comfortable yet to explore with your partner. Third, schedule. And then this 141 is very specific for the moms with new children. That is a 2-year ban. And that the 2-year ban is, if you have a baby within the last 24 months, if you are going to have a baby, make that commitment and that discussion with your husband that you're not going to make any serious decisions about your relationship in the next 24 months, just because of all the hormones that are going around, because your world is changing upside down. So do make it even saying, like, it's not that you're going to stay forever in an unhappy marriage, but in that first 24 months, that for some moms that had like 4 or 5 kids, then it's got multiplying, is saying, hey, this is a commitment that we have, that we're not going to make a serious decision about our relationship on this period. This period is going to be to use the other things first, to explore, to play, to understand. Like, one of the biggest things, and I know that this is also very controversial, I understand that, but one of the things that was very empowering for me, and then it took me a long time, was articulating to my husband that I will enjoy to see some erotic videos with him before we had sex. And then it was a big shame for me for a long time, but then I started embracing. I said, like, this is helpful, and I like this, and it is okay.
Amazing. I think that's so true, and it's so powerful. And it's really this communication, right? Communication, being open with yourself, knowing what you like, what you desire, and acting upon it. Stop hiding, because you only have one life, and you are here to feel pleasure. Like I say this all the time, we chose to come in a human experience in this body to feel pleasure. And this is the biggest source of pleasure that we have in our body. So tap into it and connect to it and dive into it, because it will create amazing, amazing shifts in your life. Thank you so much for being here. This was so amazing.
Thank you so much. And I would love to hear the stories of the people that start claiming their moms that start claiming their pleasure and see how that is changing their lives.
I love that. So where can we find more about you, Joe? Where can they find you?
Well, in my social media, I handle my own social media in Facebook, in Instagram. You can find me as Joe Unicorn Coach. And in my website, www.joeunicorncoach.com. That is how they can see a little bit of what is inside my world.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you for everything that you do and for sharing this wisdom with us. I really love it. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this was a contribution to you, please share, like, love, and comment. I would love to hear from you more, and make sure to follow us on Morph Healing. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember, you are here for a reason. I see you. Love, more.